is the president and CEO of Powerfully Green.
Thanks very much, Terry. So I'm going to give you a little bit more detail on what we did on our fly-in to Washington and who we met with and more of what they said to us, just kind of as an overview. Powerfully Green is a local solar design and installation company, and we have found lots of enthusiasm from local residential homeowners and local small businesses in supporting clean energy jobs legislation and wanting to move towards renewable energy and energy independence. So we're finding lots of success growing jobs right here in Minnesota. Initially, before many of us even got there, a small faction of our delegation met with U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, and she is very much in support of clean energy jobs legislation. When we gathered together for a luncheon, the 11 Minnesota delegates were joining the 220 business people who were there as well. We heard a presentation from Republican pollster Frank Luntz, and his basic message was that words that work, it's not what you say, but what people hear. And he made the point, if we do it right, we get cleaner air, we get less dependence on fossil fuels and enhanced national security. We get more innovation in our economy, more jobs and more sustainable jobs. And that's if the scientists are wrong. All of those things are part of what we get from supporting clean energy legislation. It's not what we say, but what people hear. And so an effort was made by all of us to figure out what those divides were and what's causing partisan relationships and to try to overcome that and have real conversations. So we heard a presentation by Secretary of Commerce Gary Locke, who pointed out that President Obama said that the nation that leads the clean energy economy will lead the global economy. Tackling it will lead to sustainable long-term prosperity. It's one of the greatest economic opportunities in our lifetime. And then we were privileged to hear a presentation by Dr. Stephen Chu, Secretary of Energy, who spoke about America having the opportunity to lead and mitigate the effects of climate change, decrease our dependency on foreign oil, and ensure American competitiveness. It was interesting to hear him talk about how we were once leaders in auto fuel efficiency, batteries, electricity transmission, power electronics, and nuclear power. Now those things are dominated by the French and Chinese. He pointed out that we're falling behind in the clean energy race, and yet China is on the march. China is spending about $9 billion a month on clean energy. The cost, for example, of the Waxman-Markey bill, he pointed out, is 45 cents a day. Then after this presentation, we went and met with our U.S. Senator Al Franken, who also pointed out to us, in summary, he was very much in support of clean energy jobs legislation. He encouraged us to meet with his local representative office here in St. Paul and encouraged us to have dialogue with him and what he could do to help support us. So we're following up with that for sure. We then had a reception that evening at the museum, which gave us an opportunity to network with other participants from other states, and a presentation there briefly by U.S. Representative Ed Markey, a presentation by Michael Richter, former New York Ranger and a partner in Environmental Capital Partners, LLC, and he pointed out that it's kind of like the Super Bowl. You'll either be in the game or it will be too late. This is the biggest market we'll ever see in our lifetime. We see a common theme happening here. And we ended the evening with a presentation by the chairman of DuPont, Mr. Chad Holliday. And he said, it's important that you are here speaking to us as business delegates. He gave a little bit of an accounting of one representative that had told him that the calls he got in his office were 100 against and 3 in support of a particular bill. And yet this representative voted for the bill because of the 3 responsible business leaders that said it was the right thing to do. So it's not always about numbers, many times it's about the message. So we're encouraged to keep bearing that message. So then on day 2, which was last week Wednesday, we had started the day with a presentation by Senator Lindsey Graham, which had a large impact on us, honestly. He's a conservative Republican senator, and he made it very clear we need to become energy independent, clean up the environment. He said it's so logical, it's scary. It makes too much sense. We send $1 billion a day overseas to buy oil. Then we met with U.S. Representative Tim Walz, who was very encouraged to have us there, encouraged to dialogue with us. and said if cap and trade isn't the way to go, that's fine. We do need a good energy policy. Then we met with our U.S. Representative Eric Paulson. He had only a brief few minutes to spend with us, but we spent a long time meeting with his Deputy Chief of Staff. And it was evident to us that there's a great divide happening in Washington. And many people feel that if it's good for the environment, it must be bad for business. And that's why we're here, because we believe it's good for both. A small faction of us was able to meet with Representative Colin Peterson in the afternoon, and we're continuing our work here locally as networking and strong business leaders here in Minnesota.